Time for us to come into your communities. A big part of what we do on this show is that we tell your story, right? Just like our tagline right here at ChannelOne TV says, we come into your communities, we bring out the real issues. And on that note, we heading straight to Kasoa in the Ewutu Senya, district, where clearly for parents, it's very difficult for them because their wards have to deal with very difficult circumstances when they have to seek health care. Why is it an issue? We are being told that there's no properly functioning pediatric lab in the whole of Kasoa, and it's clearly becoming unbearable for parents and healthcare seekers. Let's show you this brief report. We'll be back to look into the details.
The Kasoa Polyclinic serves more than 300,000 residents in the Ewutu Senya East municipality and receives patients from Ewutu Senya West, Gomua East, and Ga South. It is also a major referral point for motor accident victims. Yet, the facility has only 40 beds across its male, female, and maternal wards, and no dedicated pediatric ward, despite children making up half of all admissions. As a result, child patients are mixed with adults. A practice health staff say compromises care.
Unfortunately, we don't have a ward dedicated for pediatric care. Therefore, we mix them up with a female and a male adults. And that is the situation that we have here. And per our data, they form about 50% of the clients that we admit here every day. The treatments for pediatrics are different. It's quite different from the adults, male and female. And therefore, there should be even a pediatrician who should, a medical officer specialized in pediatric care, and nurses who are also specialized in that care, so that they'll be able to give that specialist care. But we don't have it here because we don't have the structure.
Administrators at the polyclinic say the need for a dedicated pediatric ward is now urgent.
We need a facility as urgently as now. 5 out of 10 admissions in this facility are children. And once we are having these numbers and we are having to mix them with the adults, use a very small space for them, the inconvenience and the breaches it brings in the quality of care delivery, it's a lot. So once this project is done, it's really going to make a difference. We are going to have a safe space to manage our children. We can even admit more children, and then we can be able to save more lives.
Ewutu Senya East Municipal Health Director, Dr. Stanley Yeidu, says the municipality's 2 major public facilities, the Polyclinic and the Mother and Child Hospital, have a combined capacity of under 100. While the Polyclinic lacks a pediatric ward, the Mother and Child Hospital has only 10 pediatric beds, making expansion crucial.
We don't have a dedicated pediatric ward for the kids. And even when you go to Mother and Child, on a very busy day, the pediatric ward there is not able to hold the numbers that come. And so that is why this project is very important. How can you have a municipality as big as this and you don't have more than 15-bed capacity pediatric ward? It's an error. And so this construction of a 30-bed capacity pediatric ward is a very big step to make sure that we provide the service, the quality of care that our children need. In Mother and Child, we have a neonatal intensive care unit. It's a very small space. If you go and see, it's a very, very small space. And I'm hoping that apart from this children's block, going forward, we'll have a dedicated neonatal intensive care unit also at Kasoa Polyclinic. Because sometimes when the children are born, in the first 28 days, some of them have challenges, and we need a dedicated place to be able to take care of them.
Traditional leaders are also calling on government for immediate intervention.
Private hospital in fact, polyclinic there ya nkrofo takopa anopa wi na dwede bia omo ye adwuma ho te besra ban no so man ni nko na mo bia o so de boa mo na hospital no otumi de aboa mo.
To address the challenge, authorities are constructing a 30-bed pediatric unit at the Kasoa Polyclinic. MCA said Sabasa Wonobanini tells Channel One News that several interventions are underway to expand access to quality health care.
By the grace of God, cut short for the addition of a pediatric block that will be adding 30 solid beds to what we have now. As we speak, the Polyclinic is only managing 42 beds for over 25 years. This is one significant step that we have taken to help solve our health issue.
So that's the state of affairs in Kasoa in the Ewutu Senya East District here in Ghana. Over 300,000 population, and this is according to the 2018 Housing and Census report. And there's no single pediatric ward. It makes you wonder now, if children have emergencies and they need pediatric care, they have to come all the way to Accra and sometimes go further, as far as Cape Coast to seek, health care. And that is completely unbearable for the children, their guardians. I was going to say their guidance, their guardians. It's a very difficult situation to be in, and it makes you wonder over the years what have we been doing in the area.
For me, as I watched this, the only thing that came into my mind, God has been good to them. Like, it's wild to think about them having hospitals or even giving birth without having pediatric labs. It's the problem. So how do you assess the babies at birth? How would you know there's a developmental problem? How would you know that a child has anemia? How would you know if there's something going on with the child, especially with infections and all that?
Yeah.
It's just too much to deal with, and I really cannot comprehend the whole issue, honestly.
So, there's a reason why pediatric care is very important, right? Because, again, we know how there's just a general healthcare, problem in this country in terms of the resources we allocate to healthcare facilities in the country. On many occasions, in fact, the Ghana Paediatric Society, their president, Dr. Hilda Mantebo, is a very good friend. She calls to talk to me about some of the issues in the sector. You get a sense that they are doing so much, but they are so limited in terms of their resources, right? And there's so much more we should be doing. You go to the Children Oncology Center in Kolebu, for example. Like, the doctors work their heads off, but they don't feel like they get the same level of support from government.
Well,
so it's a very difficult place for them to be in.
Right. So we actually have Ernestina on the line, and Ernestina is the manager for the nurses at the Polyclinic, at the Kasoa Polyclinic. Let's talk to her, and she can break down the whole situation. Hi, Ernestina.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right. So the Polyclinic clearly has no pediatric lab. How have you been managing?
All right. So thank you so much. I think it's a privilege, and I want to say a very good morning to all your listeners, and then the workers of your agency where you were working.
Right.
And honestly, Kasoa Polyclinic wasn't a polyclinic. It started as a health post. Then it became a health center. Then gradually it became a polyclinic. So it has transitioned within the time. Therefore, there hasn't been much emphasis on getting a pediatric unit at the beginning,
right,
before it was a health center. But when the management, that was about 5 years ago, the management that was on board operated, or they had their standard operation guidelines, it was part of their objective to establish a pediatric ward.
All right. So in that 5 years, how have you been managing? Where are children kept? How are children tested? How are children evaluated in all these 5 years?
Right. So thank you so much for the question. So we know we have the maternity unit, we have the emergency unit full in operation, we have the wards, 2 wards. We have male and female, but it's male and female adult wards. So all this while, when we should have babies or pediatrics who will have to access care, if it's a medical care, it means that the child will have to be admitted on the adult male or female ward. If it's a child that was given birth to but needs some assessment, that is before 2 weeks, the child is admitted back at the maternity unit where all the adults are. So we have their corner door, but then we don't have the full set that is to take care of kids when they are in need of care.
Right, but how important is a pediatric unit? Because from what you're saying, or from what I'm hearing, they manage the same wards as the adults, so the male and the female. But how important is it for a hospital or a polyclinic to have a standalone room for the pediatric?
Yes, thank you so much. So it has become very important. That was after I had the opportunity to go for a workshop about 3 years ago, where we were charged to ensure that a pediatric unit is constructed or we get a pediatric ward. So when I came back, I discussed with management of its importance. So though it was in their strategic plan, there is a need for us to pay attention. Why? Because a pediatric should be taken care of by a pediatrician. So pediatrics have their own doctors. They are supposed to get their own nurses because it's a specialty. Kids, the medication given to kids are different. So pediatrics are different from the adults. The care given is also different. Their wards are different because it's well arranged in such a way that they will have the necessary comfort and the healing as needed. And then those who work in the unit are also well trained, and there's a special in-service training meant for them because they are turning to pediatrics or the pediatrics.
Yeah. So
it is not general as we think, because excuse my language, if there is a pharmacy or there's a health center, if a child is sick, you take the person to the health center. So whatever is done, you are just praying that things are done well. But there is a need, Kasoa Polyclinic has the whole of Ewutu Senya and beyond. So we almost about 50 to 60% of admissions are pediatrics. So getting the ward for them is going to go a long way for us to be able to deliver quality care to the pediatrics.
Right.
And then we'll prevent the transmission of infection from adults to the children.
Right. Right. So how many pediatrics do you have there? And are they able to manage the number of children that come in there each day?
Please come again.
How many pediatrics do you have there? How many pediatric doctors do you have there?
We have none. We have none. So we have medical officers. So it's the general medical officers who have knowledge in managing pediatrics. But then it's the general. It's for the general care of the clients over there. So we don't have a pediatrician. The moment we get a unit for that, then a pediatrician will be posted to the place. And then some of the nurses who have also gone. So as I'm talking to you, some of my nurses are being enrolled in the school to pursue pediatric nursing. But by the time they come back and then the ward is ready, we just roll.
All right. So who have you actually told, or who have you actually complained to about this issue? Because from what you said, it's been going on for about 5 years. And within that 5 years, what has been done?
All right. So I happen to be at the Polyclinic since 2022. That was when I was transferred from Infantaman, the Brewer Polyclinic specifically. And so when I came, I met, we have volunteers from foreign countries who come to assess and then check how we also deliver our health care, compare it to theirs. And then so we came in contact with some of them, and I told them about the vision, that I wish they assist us to put up a pediatric unit because it is important. Some of them come purposely to assess how the care is for pediatrics. But when they come, it's like because they are messed up. So when I spoke to them, they agreed. Then their agency, that is the Wayers NGO, they are also in Kasoa. I spoke to the authorities, and last year we wrote a proposal for them to assist us. They brought us some money to be able to purchase some equipment if it is established. So Wayers have been with us all this while. And then when my the new medical superintendent, Dr. Awo Johnson, also took office this year, June, we had to visit the MC and then discuss with the MC about it.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, see, thank you so much for your hard work, Ernestina. And we know the circumstances under which sometimes you nurses have to work. But just by way of information, is the Paediatric Society of Ghana in touch with you on some of these issues you've been raising?
Right. So, anytime, normally, no, I have to be very honest with you. We haven't, but we have plans in place to contact them because we normally have to, report through our bosses to the national level. So it is so part of the plan that we have. And so we are going to do that as soon as possible.
Yeah,
okay.
Because they have the training, they have the resources, so it would be great if you could reach out to the Paediatric Society of Ghana so you can, collaborate on some of these projects that you are embarking on. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the hard work, and deep commitment to, service to your nation. We are grateful. So you had the nurse in charge.
It's actually a very pathetic situation, and really more grace to their elbows because they have no pediatric training. Yeah, they are just general doctors and nurses, but they have taken upon themselves to take care of these children because at the end of the day, the children can't be sent anywhere. They are all in the municipality and they have to come to that same hospital maybe because of what the parents can afford. So yeah, kudos to them. But honestly, it's just, it also makes sense. I was sad that they don't have a pediatrician. But then again, for what she explained was that as soon as they get the pediatric ward and lab, that's when a pediatrician will step in. But I also think that a pediatrician can actually step in now because the children are not waiting for a lab.
Yeah, but they will have to go through the whole process of like government appointment, putting a person on payroll. It can be a lot, but this is serious business, so it should be done.
It's actually serious business. So we need someone that knows children. The children are not waiting for you to say, hold on, we are training people now. The children are not waiting. Pregnant women don't stop their pregnancy. They don't pause the pregnancy at 7 months.
And so you're waiting for a pediatrician.
Waiting for a pediatrician to go and do his course and then come back. Then when the person comes back, they press play and then they give birth. No. Like life is moving. So to tell me that you're waiting for the ward to be fixed first or for the pediatric lab to be built first.
It's a stretch.
Before you bring in a pediatrician, I have a problem because people do not pause their lives for you. The children are not saying pause, okay, we'll stop our years of growing. No, we're waiting for you. Nah. I don't know. It's just a lot. But like I said, I feel like God is with them. I don't want to be religious, but
there's a funny joke we say in Ghana about how, insurance companies go out to try and sell insurance, and they tell them that, oh, God is an insurer, right? So they'd rather pray than sign up to an insurance package. And you can say save pretty much for the health sector in Ghana. It's really God that takes care of us, but that doesn't take away the fact that we need duty bearers to be minded about the very serious issues in our healthcare sector. You get a sense that the health minister is trying his best to improve general conditions with regards to healthcare delivery in the country. But it goes beyond just the capacity of the health minister to bring reforms. You need a country that has properly thought through its health systems, right? usually when healthcare issues come, it's usually looked at it from a procurement point of view. How much money can we make? But we need that mindset shift. We need to be able to say that, see, we are going to put the lives of the people first.
Right.
You know,
right.
And these are the very important soft issues we need to start looking at first before we begin all the conversations around this, because look at the way doctors are even just leaving the country in
Talking
search
about
for
doctors,
better opportunities. So
we actually have Dr. Awo, who is on the line. She's the medical superintendent at the Kasoa Polyclinic. Hi, Doc.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. You're welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm sure you already know the conversation, so let's get into it. First of all, how does it feel to be working in a place that has no pediatrician, not even one? Okay, we lost her right there.
Wow.
I guess...
So, yeah, Awo, you know what Awo means, right? Awo means mother.
Mother.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So, see, the issues are the same. We need more investment. We need a country or a government that is particularly minded about shifting or changing the structure of the way things are done in this country, particularly with healthcare. You know, we need infrastructure. That is why, for me, I was so disappointed when the previous government said they were going to build Agenda 111 and we're not able to fully commission, or they commissioned, but we saw the state of affairs in some of these places. So we need a shift from seeing healthcare purely through partisan lenses, but rather, you know, seeing it through as a sense of commitment.
Patriotic thing,
exactly.
Instead of like partisan, you know.
Because at the end of the day, when you're lying on the hospital bed, your party card won't matter.
True.
Your voting history won't matter. You know, it will be about whether or not government has put in place the necessary, you know, systems to ensure that we can enjoy proper healthcare as you know, mandated. So I don't know. It's anyway, very difficult to have.
This is a very difficult conversation to have, but then again, we need to have some of these conversations to find a way to move forward. And I hope those in charge of, you know, everything we just spoke about, you know, sort of get up and be proactive, because like I said, children are not waiting for you. The world does not stop. The world keeps moving. Children are born every day, and they need to live because they are the future. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be having some conversations on agri-fair.